Imagine a world where every road leads to a single city, a city so powerful that its very name strikes awe across continents. A city of marble, gold, and steel, Rome. But how did this empire, born from the fires of ambition, rise to such greatness? And what does the story of Rome's peak tell us about the fragility of power? In this episode, we unravel the legend of an empire that once stood as the center of the world. Rome wasn't built in a day, but its rise was nothing short of miraculous. From its humble beginnings as a small settlement along the Tiber River, Rome grew to become an unstoppable force. At its height, the Roman Empire stretched across 3 continents: Europe, Asia, and Africa. No other civilization had controlled so much land, wealth, and people. But what made Rome so powerful? It wasn't just its vast army or its wealth. It was the idea of Rome. The Romans believed they were destined to rule, chosen by the gods to bring order and civilization to the world. This belief fueled their ambition, driving them to conquer lands far beyond their borders. At the heart of Rome's success was its mighty army. The Roman legions were unmatched, highly disciplined, expertly trained, and incredibly strategic. Every soldier knew his role, every formation was precise, and every battle plan was calculated. The Romans didn't just fight battles, they engineered them. The legions marched in perfect unison, their shields gleaming in the sunlight, their swords sharp and ready for action. They built roads, forts, and entire cities in enemy territory, securing their victories long after the battles were over. It was this military genius that allowed Rome to dominate for centuries, defeating everyone from the Carthaginians in the Punic Wars to the fierce Celtic tribes in Gaul. But Rome's strength didn't come from force alone. It came from the way they integrated the people they conquered. Rome didn't just destroy its enemies, it absorbed them. Former foes became Roman citizens, enjoying the benefits of Roman life, contributing to the empire's growth. This is what made Rome different. It didn't just conquer, it built a world around itself. At the center of this vast empire stood the city of Rome itself, a symbol of the empire's grandeur. The city was a marvel of architecture and engineering. The Colosseum, where gladiators fought for glory, could hold over 50,000 people. The aqueducts, towering structures of stone, carried fresh water to the city from miles away, an innovation unheard of at the time. The Roman Forum buzzed with life as politicians debated, traders bartered, and citizens gathered to witness the shaping of their future. But perhaps the most iconic symbol of Rome's power was its roads. The Romans were master road builders, laying down over 250,000 miles of roads that connected the farthest reaches of their empire back to the capital. These roads didn't just carry soldiers and supplies, they carried ideas, culture, and influence. They became the arteries of the empire, pumping life into every corner of Roman territory. This period of unparalleled prosperity and stability came to be known as the Pax Romana, or Roman peace. For over 2 centuries, Rome experienced a golden age, free from the chaos of civil wars, protected by its strong borders, and enriched by trade that flowed across the empire like a river of gold. People from all corners of the empire, Greece, Egypt, Gaul, lived and worked in harmony under the protection of Roman law. During the Pax Romana, the Roman economy flourished. The empire's wealth grew exponentially as goods like silk from China, spices from India, and grains from Egypt poured into its markets. This global network of trade was unprecedented, turning Rome into a cosmopolitan hub where cultures mingled and ideas flowed freely. The emperors, beginning with Augustus, maintained this peace through careful governance. Rome became a place of great cultural and intellectual achievement, with advances in philosophy, science, literature, and architecture. It was an empire where the arts thrived, where law was codified, and where the very concept of citizenship was redefined. But even in this golden age, shadows loomed. The empire was rich, but it was also overextended. Its legions were spread thin, protecting borders that seemed to stretch endlessly. The wealth of the empire was built on the backs of slaves, and inequality between the rich and poor grew wider with each passing year. For the elite, life in Rome was a luxurious dream. For the common people, it was often a harsh reality. Despite its power, the empire was fragile, held together by the strength of its military and the skill of its leaders. But cracks were beginning to show. Corruption in the Senate, infighting among generals, and a reliance on foreign mercenaries were signs that the empire's foundations weren't as solid as they seemed. The seeds of its downfall had already been planted, even in its moment of triumph.